Sup everyone, Silent J here, and I'm back again with another Balisong review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Darrel Holy Moley, which is a design collaboration between FkeSpydrFly, also known as SickOfThiests on YouTube, and Darrel. This Balisong is on loan to me from FkeSpydrFly, and I'll have his and FkeSpydrFly's YouTube channels linked in the description below. But let's jump straight into the review. As always, we'll start with things that I like about the Balisong, and number one for me is I think this Balisong looks pretty cool. Again, that's just personal preference for me, but I think this like drop point, recurve Tonto blade going on is a pretty cool blade profile. The handles, they're a little plain with that subtle look of the blue anodizing that's going on there. But to me, the handles could be cooler looking, but this blade is pretty sweet looking. Also talking about the blade, if you definitely want to look for usage, this blade is an S30V, which is a pretty nice steel. For me, I wasn't able to really test that out because this blade wasn't very sharp. So I wasn't able to really put the S30V to any use. So your mileage may vary with S30V. To me, not necessary, but it's nice to know. Another good thing about this would be the bearing system. Can't really get close enough to show you that, but in the pivots you have the bearings between the blade and the handles, which keeps it really smooth. I didn't notice it being extra smooth from anything normal. I mean, it felt like it had been, like, oiled recently, but other than that, I mean, nothing that blew me away, but it's pretty nice. From what I heard, the bearings, like, remove all the play, but there's still some. With these no Loctite pivots, I really can't adjust them, only because I don't have anything to get into that secondary screw, so I don't want to touch the pivots because of that. But other than that, I mean, the bearings are pretty cool. Definitely not something that's blowing me away over something like bushings, but definitely nice addition over a standard pivot system. The other thing that I like about it is these handles being as like radiused as they are, they feel really smooth. It's pretty comfortable in hand, especially when you're doing things like fanning. I mean, it's nice and comfortable, but other than that, I mean, there really isn't too much going on for this that I really like, and there is one thing that I'm about to get into, but it's more so of a bad thing than it is for a bonus, unfortunately. And that would be this latch. Normally, when you have a latch that doesn't lock up on you, or stall when you're flipping, that'd be pretty cool. The downside being that this latch, because of the spacers, honestly, this latch isn't working properly. And what I mean by that is, I don't know how well you can see that, but the latch head only goes about halfway down. And because of that lightest touch and this thing unlatches, it's not a secure lockup at all. Open is a little better, but not by much. I mean, again, very light touch and it's unlatched. So it's kind of a downside for me. Is this latch. Yeah, it's not locking up, but unfortunately it's not locking up when you need it to either. So that to me is a bit of a downside. The other thing that I don't like, and as much as I love the look of it, this blade is way too big for this Balisong. You have these tiny handles and it's causing quite a bit of problems. One, it's relatively blade heavy. Two, if it wasn't for these spacers, I'm pretty sure this blade, the latch would be coming in contact with the tip of the blade, and to me that's a bit of a problem. Also, the edge here of the blade could very easily cut you while this knife is closed. This edge is coming way too close to the end of the handles, and if this was sharper, I probably would have sliced myself open multiple times already. But another downside being with these spacers, this blade just isn't quite made for it. That collision right there is the spine of the blade, like over here by the tip, colliding with the spacer, because These block spacers, while a nice addition, and actually a needed addition in my personal opinion, they weren't designed, from what I can tell, weren't put in with very much thought, only because it's not made to work with this Balisong as is. It's a nice addition, keeps it from being overly blade heavy. With the standard barrel spacers in there, I really don't think this would be flippable. But again, that might just be me. Again, going into this, I don't like the handle length. I guess it's alright, but they're kind of short. And for me, you have this massive blade and you have these shorter handles. And the shorter handles, I prefer to have longer handles, but with the T-latch too, again, you come in issues where you're rotating it and you'll get like a 90-degree angle and it'll lock up on you in your hand. It'll just stall. It's just issues. I'd rather have some longer handles, especially considering you have that blade weight issue going on already. You could use more handle length, and that'll get more weight. And of course, unfortunately, we're back to the blade on things that are wrong. Now, while it does have this nice radius spine, this crown spine, which is normally really nice and comfortable, this notch is causing some serious issues with it. On the first day of trying to flip this notch actually prevented me from being able to chaplain, like, at all. I couldn't get it to work. It took me at least an hour or so of trying to get used to this Balisong to even be able to chaplain, because this notch, well, I had heard, oh yeah, no, the notch will, like, lock around your finger and you can chaplain for days, whatever. But the notch kind of just digs into your finger and pushes it away, so the Balisong just tries to go flying. And even when I was able to chaplain with it, it's really rough on the hands, because the corner is what digs into you. And while it's rounded, it's still a protrusion that's digging into your finger, and I don't like it at all. The notch is just ridiculous to me. Other than aesthetics, I can't understand why that's there. Another downside to this for me is it's a really expensive knife for what you're getting. You have the S30V, you have the tie handle slabs, and the bearing system, but I mean at like around 600, there's so much more that could be done. I mean, the blade is sticking out of the handles. I don't know if you can really see it in video, but the burrs from machining these holes were left. I mean, at 600 plus, like, you can't deburr this, really? I mean, it's not even affecting me physically because obviously I'm not sticking my hands in these handles, but to me that's just lazy for how much you're paying for this. I mean, I don't understand it. There's just too many design flaws for me to really go, yeah, awesome. And it doesn't flip well enough for me to even come close to justifying that cost. There's a lot of customs you can get that generally have better execution in how they're built and flip better for this price. So that's just something to think about. But if you really do want this, then, you know, that's your thing. But to me, I can't personally justify this price. And of course, as always, if it's an issue, the biggest issue I have is flippability. And that is because I don't like how this flips. Straight out of the box, it was like barely flippable. At that point, I'd give it maybe like a 2 out of 10 straight out of the box. It was barely flippable. I couldn't chaplain with it. It was just giving me so many issues, and I had put so many hours into making it truly flippable. And even then, it was maybe about mid-range on flippability. I'd say like a 4 or a 5 tops. So to me, I don't like that I have to put so much effort into making it flip well, for me anyway, and getting adjusted to how this thing handles to really enjoy it. You're spending so much time just trying to get used to it and making it flippable that I'd rather just flip something that flips well out of the box. But that's just me. All in all, again, straight out of the box, I'd give it maybe like a 2 out of 10. And then after putting many hours into it, I'd give it about a 4 or 5. But to me, That's too much time and effort for getting a 4 out of 5. So that's just my personal opinion. It looks cool. If you don't mind dealing with some bad customer service, from what I've just horror stories. I'm not even going to get into that, but just horror stories. But anyway, if this is your thing, you just want something that looks nice, then that'll be fine. For EDC or flipping, I can't recommend this. Flipping, again, you put too much effort into it for not enough payout. And for EDC, it's a really expensive knife and doesn't even lock up right. I can't recommend it for that either. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into some flipping footage. Peace.